Martin and Franzoni will be on row 1. Fisher and Kuna, row 2. Listoshkin and Green, row 3. Eberly and Puderbach, row 4. Rob on row number 5. 9 Mazda rotary power plants ready to fire up here and go for 55 laps. We'll see who's going to win here on this incredibly challenging racetrack. Waiting with me right now to get things underway, to fire up these engines, the words we want to hear to get these guys underway from the Bommarito Automotive Group. Bo Bommarito down here with me for team sales and service coordinators. We get set to go. Ladies and gentlemen, these drivers, this is their first time here on an oval in 2017. They can't wait to go to work for you. We're going to start the first of 3 races here, ladies and gentlemen. Pro Mazda, they are getting ready to roll. Again, drivers just waiting for the call to fire up these 280 horsepower power plants, and we will go racing with the Mazda Road Indy. Here we go, folks.
On behalf of the Bommarito Automotive Group and our over 2,000 team members and families here today, welcome to Gateway Motorsports Park and the Pro Mazda Series. Gentlemen, start your Mazda engines.
And with that, engines fire. We are getting set to go. 55 laps of Pro Mazda action. Time to get the Bommarito Automotive Group 500 weekend underway.
She's gonna pick you up with the brake.
Pro Mazda, the second step on the Mazda road to Indy, sees speeds rising, rivalries developing, and the competition intensifying. Win the championship and its Mazda scholarship to take to the next challenge of taming Indy Lights, presented by Cooper Tires.
Well, Jim, we're ready for this amazing race. 55 laps here with the Pro Mazda race. 9 racers all vying for top honors tonight. Once again, Franzoni and Martin just separated by 10 points with 2 races left, or 2 races after tonight. So there's going to be a lot of implications for this particular event. We need to see who is going to wind up taking the lead here and then kind of holding it out through the race and then holding on to the checkered flag at the finale. What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, I tell you what, Anthony Martin has been very fast in the number 8 car. Of course, all these cars powered by Mazda power plants, as Rob indicated. And I love the way they sound. I love the way these Mazda, the rotary power plants sound out on the racetrack. And Anthony Martin and Victor Franzoni will bring the field down.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, when they come down in front of you this time, I know you guys have been sitting down for a long time. You've been a fantastic, fantastic crowd showing up here. We want everyone to stand to your feet, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start this night of racing off in grand style. When they come down in front of you, we want you to wave and make some noise. When they come down in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, there's your starting field for the first race of the day. The Mazda Road to Indy Pro Mazda Series.
Martin, Franzoni, Fisher, Kuna, Listoshkin, Green, Eberly, Puderbach, and Rob. That is your field of 9 cars for tonight's 55-lap starter for tonight's race.
You know, Rick, what I like the number 14. He's got a very fast name. That is his real name, ladies and gentlemen. Stingray. That is his real name. That's on the birth certificate. His father was a big Corvette fan. And
he could have been a fan of police, too, you know.
Well, he could have been a fan of the ocean life, you know. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
Stingray,
we are just about ready to go racing. This time by, looks like the official starter up on the flag stand here at Gateway Motorsports Park. And we are just about a quarter of a lap away from 55 exciting laps, courtesy of the Mazda Pro Road to Indy Challenge. Green flag flies in. Here we go. Race number 1 of the day here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Still side by side. No clear leader. Oh, we got a car in trouble. Up into turn number 2. 2 cars getting together. And we'll have to wait and see.
There we go, yellow now.
Yellow flag will fly.
They're back under power and trying to catch the rear of the field there.
Wow. Not a good way to start. Of course, Rick, I will say this.
Green and Puderbach, the two that were involved in that little tangle, and they joined the rest of the field here.
Yeah, we're just kind of filling in until Rob makes his way up here, the voice of the Pro Mazda Series. I will say this, the track right now is probably slicker than it's been all weekend long. The sun's been beaten down here at Gateway Motorsports Park, and probably caught a couple of those drivers off guard as they went into turn number 1. So both driver and cars involved will tag the tail end. A great start, though, for Anthony Martin in car number 8. Clearly stating his mission. He was the fast qualifier earlier this morning in Pro Mazda qualifying, presented by Cooper Tire, and he will be scored as your leader.
Right now, I'm just looking at the flag man to see if he changes from the yellow to the green. It still looks like you're going to go another lap under yellow. Yep, we're still going under yellow for this.
And the yellow flag does fly. Looks like we'll go at least one more lap under caution. Now the furl green flag in the hand. We go racing next time by. Looks like a single file restart. Anthony Martin in car number 8. He is your race leader. Racing in second, the number 23 of Victor Fransoni. Racing in third is the number 81 car of Carlos Cunha. A good start. Started fourth. He's already up to third. And TJ Fisher, the American, is currently riding in the fourth position. And here comes the voice of the Mazda Pro Road to Indy Series. Here's Rob. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Green flag flies once again, and immediately a challenge for the lead as they go too wide over in turn number 1. Anthony Martin and Victor Francosi going at it up front. Francosi now down to the bottom, challenging for the lead in turn number 3 as they go side by side.
Great racing, guys. Franzoni putting it down, seeing if he can't get by Anthony Martin. We also have one of the Pelfrey drivers in there. Carlos Cunha is going to make it a 3-driver battle up front. Franzoni a little high coming out of turn number 2. Here comes Cunha to the inside. Carlos Cunha and the Team Pelfrey car to the inside going down the back chute. This is the battle we were hoping for the Team Pelfrey cars to dial things in. They're trying to stay with them. Right now, though, Martin pulls out to about a 4 or 5 car length lead going into 1. They were on top of each other to start. As we kind of expected, Martin settling into the lead a little quicker than Franzoni. Franzoni getting a feel for the draft right now. Does he get any kind of understeer going to the corner? We watched him push up at a half a car width, half a lane on lap number 2, and Cunha came attacking. Right now, Franzoni closing back in. Cunha now runs in 3rd spot. Fisher in 4th. Listoshkin 5th. Rob up to 6th. It was Green and Puderbach who spun early, but we are back to racing. Stingray Rob trying to put the pressure down on Jeff Green. They run 6th and 7th. I'll tell you, that was a tough run from pit lane on the golf cart, running up the stairs to get back up here. I'm just only starting to get my breath back, so bear with me. Crazy run. Sit alongside me here from Trackside Online and TSO Ladder, Steve Whittick. Steve, thanks for making the long trek with me. We are expecting a great battle between these two leaders, Martin and Franzoni. We know they're both unbelievably quick, but the tension down in the paddock was wild before we got things rolling.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing, Rob, to be down with those two. It was pretty amazing to be down on in the paddock with those two drivers before the race started. They were parked side by side before they got in their cars, and neither driver was looking at each other. The crews weren't looking at each other. It was pretty tense.
Well, again, we're talking about a serious prize. Almost $800,000 is the scholarship that will send one of these drivers to Indy Lights in 2018. The champion will do that. The guy who finishes second, probably going to get a new Mazda car. That's about it, and that's tough for him. But I'll tell you, we got a great battle here. They're going to go to Watkins Glen. This thing is not going to get decided here. Potential to have a championship decided in Indy Lights for Kyle Kaiser, but right now we just have these two drivers battling it out. Franzoni with a tremendous run coming out of turn number 2. He's closing in here as well. Carlos Cunha doing a fantastic job. Cunha in that third position for Team Pelfrey. Here comes Franzoni, Steve, right up on the rear gearbox, right on the gearbox into 1.
And it was interesting, Rob, down on the grid beforehand, I kind of took a look at the downforce levels that each driver has, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts that the number 23 Juncos racing car had a lot less downforce than the number 8 Cape machine of Martin.
Yeah, he definitely laid that wing back, the rear wing, laid it down. He's going to have a lot more top end, and that's kind of what we're seeing. He's able to catch up on the straightaways, but loses a bit of grip from the rear with less downforce into the corners. That kind of pulls him back a bit, but he does get a fantastic drive as they come up the straightaway. He's able to tuck right in behind Martin. I think that's a pretty good setup strategy call, Steve, because if you have exactly the same setup, you know you're going to have that aero washer. You know you're going to get stuck in the draft a little bit. You'll get that push into the corner. This way he can at least, if all works well, draft up and potentially make a move.
Yeah, it's all about being able to get close to him in turn 3 and 4. You know, turn 1 and 2 is not a flat-out corners, especially in race trim, but turn 3 and 4 is flat-out. So if he can get close to him in turn 3 and 4, there's going to be a chance he'll be able to get right behind him like he is right now on the front stretch. And Martin blocks. Franzoni to the outside in turn number 1.
Franzoni goes to the outside. He's going to run the bottom. That's what the deal is here for Martin. He knows it. He ran all the way across the bottom. Here comes Franzoni. Great run. He'll go right down to the bottom of the racetrack. They are going to go side by side potentially. Franzoni looks to the outside. It is early in this race. And I'll tell you this right now. We have a battle here. Franzoni, they are going at it big time here. So the battle up front here, absolutely stellar. Martin having to run defensive all the way down the straightaways as Franzoni's going to try to go around the outside. He got a really good run out of turn number 2 just a lap and a half ago. He loses a bit as they work their way into the corners, but again, that lower downforce setup is really paying off right now for Franzoni.
Rob, you have to wonder if Martin didn't learn a little bit from his Australian friend, Will Power, at Pocono, where Power came out of turn 2 at Pocono, dove to the inside and took the inside line into turn 3. One thing, talking to Power and Newgarden, that worked for about as many laps as they had left, but Power said, yeah, that wasn't going to work too much longer.
And Newgarden would have figured a way around it. One thing I'm obviously a little worried about, when you go lower on the downforce, it's going to press the tires a little more. So one thing you may see is Franzoni at the end of this 55 lap where he's going to have to get the job done, because right now he's got to worry about the fact he could be burning off the Coopers.
Yeah.
He gets another great run coming out of turn number 4, Steve, into turn 1. Really exciting thus far.
Yeah, and both drivers started on 5-6 lap scuff tires. I checked with both teams, and so they're both equal in that sense. But Rob, you're right. It's going to be burning out the tires with less downforce is definitely something he has to worry about. And also following closely in the corners. It's not hard. You're taut on the wheel to keep close, and that's going to burn up the tires as well.
And one thing I know you and I talked about already was the fact that lap traffic could play a bit of a role here, as they're now starting to close up on the battle between Bobby Eberle and Brendan Puderbach. So the two leaders, Martin and Franzoni, down into turn number 1, 2. Probably, I would say 10 or 11 car lengths back, maybe not, maybe a little more than that, maybe 15, but they are really getting a big run down the back chute again. And in fact, I think Martin's going to catch him as they come right up into the turn number 3, 4 area. They, in fact, are on top of Puderbach and Eberle. Martin's going to try to the outside. He'll roll around the outside of Puderbach. He goes high coming out of the corner. Wow, car drifted up a little bit on the exit as he outwinded the steering wheel. He'll tuck to the bottom of Eberly as they come through, as they are just picking their way through lap traffic now.
That was an impressive move by Martin, especially last time he tried to go around the outside of lap traffic. It didn't work so well for him at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, Mid-Ohio trying to go to the outside of Franzoni's teammate, Jeff Green. Contact ensued, and Franzoni was able to slip by for the win. It was hotly debated after the race, and I know that the stewards and the officials looked at Jeff Green's video. They said no wrongdoing. He was just trying to get out of the way. Bottom line is it gave Franzoni a race win. Right now, no issues thus far. Martin, though, all the way back to the bottom of the racetrack again. Franzoni, relentless with his pressure. He'll try around the outside. Here comes Franzoni out of turn 2. They're side by side. Franzoni's going to get a better run. We have a new leader halfway down the back straightaway. Martin's going to try to hold it to the inside. Can he drive it to the bottom, make it stick? He does so. It stays at the bottom, but no, Franzoni around the outside. Book it. Can he hold the top line, Steve? Excellent run for Franzoni.
That was an impressive run by Franzoni around the outside of turn 1. That's not something I thought when I talked to all the drivers beforehand, and around the outside was not something we were told would be happening.
Well, that's what I love about Victor Franzoni. Don't tell him he can't do something because he's going to try to figure out a way to make it happen. He now leads by about 4 car lengths. This is flipping that championship upside down. This time, Franzoni will go on the defensive. He'll drive to the bottom of the racetrack. Now, again, these cars intrinsically will do that. You'll come out of the corner, and the car wants to keep turning left. It'll drop a little bit down, usually halfway down the racetrack. They'll spool it back up, load the car to get back up into the next corner. So that kind of curving nature is coming down the straightaway is really just a sample of what you get with a chassis setup. It's what you do to get the car to keep rolling, to try to keep resistance off the wheel, and then set up for the next corner. But right now, Franzoni starting to stretch away here. I want to say 4 or 5 tenths of a second separating first and second. And as they run on the racetrack right now, Steve, these drivers will be tied with 286 points. They could be tied going into the finale at Watkins Glen.
That would be a fantastic thing for the fans at Watkins Glen. Yeah, it was interesting. I sort of took a look at the bonus points that these drivers can score. You know, they can get a bonus point for winning pole, having the fastest lap of the race, and also for leading the most laps. And so far this season, that's where Martin had the advantage. He came into the race with a 5-point victory or 5-point lead. He had a 6-point lead in bonus points. So, as we know, the bonus points are awfully big.
Could be exciting here, folks. A lot of racing still to come. 34 laps still to go. One of the things we talked about already was the low downforce setup for Victor Franzoni. We're now going to watch what those tires do over the run. He just puts a new fast lap of the race, 141.214 miles per hour. They have that thing absolutely rolling.
And that's one thing. When he goes with the low downforce setup, there's a good chance he'll want to try and build up a lead, knowing that, you know, Martin is going to come back later in the race. And as he goes underneath lap traffic.
That was Stingray Robb, stayed to the high line there, Steve, and Franzoni able to go to the bottom.
And as they go through the race, there's a chance that Martin could start to catch up as Franzoni's tires burn off. But that's not a bad way to look at it. You want to be leading later. You don't want to be following. So.
Yeah, long way to go. 23 laps down. 32 laps still to go, not even to the halfway point. We'll continue to watch lap speeds because right now, Martin actually a bit quicker last time by, but that's going to attribute to the fact that Franzoni had to run the low line going by Stingray Robb. At this point, they've lapped all the way up past Robb. Jeff Green will be the next driver on the hit list, but Carlos Cunha in the 81 leading his teammate TJ Fisher and Nikita Listoskin. So Pelfrey 3, 4, and 5, but Carlos Cunha the best in that inter-squad battle at this point, currently running in the 3rd position.
Franzoni just set another fastest lap at 141 miles an hour and 2:35. So there's right now he's got that one bonus point.
8 tenths of a second separating first and second. And again, we will continue to watch fast lap of the race because, as Steve said, absolutely important, as that's worth a bonus point. And we have seen in this Mazda Road to Indy times where drivers have tied on points at the end of the season. They had tied on wins. I'm going back to Gabby Chavez and Jack Harvey in the Indy Lights Championships back in 2014. They were tied for points. They were tied for race wins. They had to go to the most second-place finishes for Gabby Chavez to get that championship. So, Steve, any bonus point could break the tie when we wrap up the weekend in Watkins Glen.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that one bonus point can be just about an $800,000 prize. That's a lot of pressure for 21, 22-year-old drivers to have to face, but that will serve them well as they move up the ladder next to Indy Lights and then to IndyCar. the pressure only continues to build.
I agree. It's not like it's going to get any easier. So if you can't handle the pressure here, you've essentially just proven that maybe you're not ready to make up that spot. Up front, though, Franzoni absolutely stretching away. 1.2 seconds now, the advantage between first and second. Mid-Ohio just absolutely belonged to Anthony Martin. He probably should have got 3 wins had it not been for the contact with Jeff Green that allowed Victor to slide through. Could have been 3 wins for him there. Dominated the weekend. But here we come to this race. Yeah, Martin goes on the pole, but the Juncos Racing Team just does the right tweak to that car, as Steve had told you, surveying the cars in the paddock. They made a change to the rear wing, dropped it back a little bit, took some downforce out of the car. That's going to pull away from grip. It's going to take grip away, but it's going to add chute speed, going to add that top speed, make the car a little quicker in the straight line. And there's a long straightaway here. We're not running Lucas Oil Raceway. This isn't Iowa. There's a long straightaway here, and obviously they're taking full advantage of it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how long these 2 straightaways are here. This track, if you talk to a lot of drivers who've driven around the country and around the world, Motegi in Japan, the oval is over there is 1.5 miles, but the IndyCar drivers compare this track a lot to Motegi. Different ends of the track where it's wider and the less banked corner, but drives very, very similar. You're going to be able to, basically I want to say you want to be able to go flat in 3 and 4 here, and you're going to have to lift in 1 and compromise a little bit in 1. You can set it up to go faster through 1, but you're not going to be happy in 3 and 4. And you said long straightaway, you've got to be happy coming off turn 4.
Carlos Cunha able to slip by Stingray Robb as well, the driver running in that 3rd position. Franzoni now leading by 1.7 seconds. Another fast lap, almost into the 142 region, 141.983 miles per hour. Franzoni flat dominating the race right now, put the pressure on early with that low downforce setup, was able to make a couple of great moves to try to get by, but it was that move, Steve, an outside move between 1 and 2 that allowed him to come out of the corner side by side, using the low downforce to get the long straightaway run, and he takes the lead over in turn number 3.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a pass we're going to be talking a bit for a long time in the road to Indy.
I agree.
That was impressive stuff.
Outside pass in turn 1 and 2. And the corner that's tough. That's a bank corner, but it's a lot narrower. It's almost like a decreasing radius corner as they work their way out there. Just an impressive run for Victor Franzoni. And let's not jump the gun, but regardless right now, we're talking about the pressure on both of these drivers for Victor to step up when he needed to do it. He needed to answer the call here after losing the point lead at Mid-Ohio, and so far he has done so. As they race on track, without counting fast laps and most laps led, they currently sit tied with 286 points. That's absolutely stunning to me that we may go to Watkins Glen with these 2 drivers head-to-head, a doubleheader, tied in points.
Doesn't that happen a lot in the road to Indy? I think I went back, and the last time a championship was decided before the finale was Joseph Newgarden in 2011 with Indy Lights.
Wow.
So 5 years in a row, every championship has come down to the final race. That's impressive stuff, and it just shows you how competitive the road to Indy is and what a great training ground the Mazda Road to Indy is.
And I think you would agree with me, Steve. Both of these drivers are ready to go to Indy Lights. Anthony Martin and Victor Franzoni, I think, would be solid in the Indy Lights program. They would both do well with another year of Pro Mazda as well because they're great young drivers. A brand new car, of course, coming next year, the Tatis PM18. This will be the final season for this older Elan-built Pro Formula Mazda car, and we'll retire the Mazda Rotary Renesis power plant as well in favor of a 2-liter MZR 280 horsepower engine.
I am going to miss that rotary note per se, and it's too bad this isn't a night race. You guys, fans, would be treated to a great spectacle of these cars shooting flames out of the tailpipes. So. Big
run for Franzoni again down the back straightaway. 2.5 seconds now the lead as he continues to stretch away. Last lap, 0.7 of a mile per hour faster than Martin. Franzoni is using it, and Steve, I think it's fair to say that when you put a low downforce setup on a car, you have to trust that your driver's going to take care of the car. You won't do that with somebody who doesn't have the experience. A kid like Franzoni, who is so highly touted in the Mazda Road to Indy right now, he's going to be able to handle a car if it gets loose, but he's also going to be able to take care of the tires, even though he's got that low downforce.
And that's something that spending time in the Road to Indy has done. Both these guys, I think it's Anthony's 3rd year, it's Victor's 4th year in the Road to Indy, and that way it's a training ground. And, as rookie drivers, they probably wouldn't have known how to take care of those tires. But over the course of the last, 60, 70 races that they've done in the Road to Indy, they've learned that, hey, taking care of the tires late in the race is huge.
And that's what we're talking about. This Mazda Road to Indy is all about driver development. Yeah, we're moving guys up the ladder. We're providing unbelievable scholarships to keep guys racing, keep them moving up this racing ladder as they try to fulfill their dreams of becoming a Verizon IndyCar Series driver. But the simple bottom line is we're trying to develop the driver's skill, their racecraft, how they drive, and what they can do. And I think, Steve, we've seen a lot of great drivers who've never won a championship coming up through the ranks, and they've become top drivers, whether it's in sports cars or the Verizon IndyCar Series. James Hinchcliffe didn't win a ton of races on his run up the ladder, but he's become one of the top drivers in the Verizon IndyCar Series because of what he learned on the way up.
It's something I talked to a few drivers that actually haven't made even the jump to IndyCar, but made the jump to sports cars after their Road to Indy experience. And every single one of them explained to me that this is a much better training ground for them, and it's not because the car they're going to drive in sports cars, even in the next level of the Road to Indy, is going to be far different, but the competition level, the teams, the other drivers they're driving against, they can't get that anywhere else in the world.
I agree with you completely, and we're seeing it here on display with Pro Mazda and Indy Lights, part of this weekend's Bommarito Automotive Group 500. Excited to be here at Gateway Motorsports Park. We're just starting to dial things in for you. 3 races on tap. When the lights go down, we're going to fire up the IndyCar program and put on a show for you here. We're going to have a packed house, a lot of fun back in the midway as well. We had the IndyCar autograph session. We even packed up the Pro Mazda and Indy Lights autograph sessions. Had a great time meeting all the fans down there. It's just been a great day so far, and we're excited with the way things are rolling down. 38 laps in the books, 17 laps remaining. Victor Franzoni, the Brazilian driver, one of the most likable drivers in the paddock, now leading by 3.4 seconds. He has now led the most laps. We're past that point where even if Martin got the lead back, he's led the most laps, so that's a bonus point. He's got the fast lap of the race. That's a bonus point. Steve, as it stands now, he would leave here if we through the checker, he would leave here with a 2-point lead heading to Watkins Glen.
It's just amazing how these guys have gone back and forth all season long. You think, oh, maybe this is the weekend Victor can pull ahead. Nope, Anthony comes back the very next weekend and wins 2 races or wins 3 races in a row.
Cool thing, Steve, is these last 2 races, these drivers have never been here before. It's not like we're going back to a track that they've raced at before and they're comfortable. Maybe Franzoni's good here or Martin's good here. They have never been to Gateway. And they've never been to Watkins Glen. Yeah, they've done testing there, of course, but we haven't run either of these series at that track. It's going to be so exciting for Pro Mazda to go to Watkins Glen, and it's really going to be gloves off because we don't know who's going to be good there.
It's absolutely cool to see that these guys will have a chance to, then the teams will have a chance to try and dial in a track they've never driven at before. And, you can look back at historical results on tracks that are similar,
Yep.
But we don't race anything a lot like Watkins Glen. High speed, high grip. There's not a lot in the IndyCar series. Maybe Grand Prix of Indianapolis, if you want to take a look at a track that could compare.
Yeah, I agree.
And that was those two, Martin and Franzoni went back and forth there too. So I expect it to go down to the very last race, the very last lap.
I will say that if it does end up being kind of like an Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, it's going to lean towards Franzoni. He was a little better than Martin there earlier in the year, but again, as you said, these teams are going to dial things in. It's a doubleheader weekend, lots of time to get the cars ready. This is going to come down to the final race on Sunday. Franzoni now working his way by more lap traffic. Laps are winding down. We're, 13 laps remaining. He'll go by one of the Pelfrey cars. I think that's potentially Listoshkin he's been able to go by. So Franzoni has flat dominated this race after putting the pressure on Martin early. Now Martin getting caught up. Oh, he's going to try to go to the bottom. 3 wide into turn number 3. Wow.
Oh.
3 wide. I think they went around Stingray Rob. That might be Jeff Green on the high side.
On the outside.
So here they come down the straightaway. Franzoni across the line. Listoshkin was the driver getting lapped. And indeed, Jeff Green was the driver who went to the outside. It was Stingray Rob in the middle, Green to the outside, and Martin just didn't want to check up. He went down the bottom, essentially 3 wide on the entrance to turn number 3.
That shows you how hard and how much these drivers really want to win, Martin could be happy with a second and go in there with, a 2-point deficit to Watkins Glen, but that's not. They wouldn't be race car drivers if they tried that, would they?
Agreed. They continue to push because you never know what's going to happen. Driver has a little bit of a slide, has an issue where they happen to loop it and continue on. You never want to give that driver in front of you any opportunity to have that cushion that he could make a mistake and not be penalized for it. Right now, 3.8 seconds, the advantage for Victor Franzoni.
And it's amazing, Rob, that he's still turning laps. 141.766 was his last lap speed. And that's a mile and a half an hour faster than they qualified at this morning.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
It's tremendous, tremendous. Fans starting to roll in. We're getting to pack up the seats here at Gateway Motorsports Park. We'll take this opportunity to say a hello to everyone listening on the Mazda Road to Indy app or potentially watching on so many of the platforms that you can do now. The IndyCar Facebook Live page, on the YouTube account, whether you're watching on IndyCar's Race Control. You could be watching on ProMazda.com. A lot of opportunities to watch this program live. It doesn't matter where you are. You can tune in and get live coverage of the Mazda Road to Indy, and, of course, the Verizon IndyCar Series as well. Excited for that main event this evening, but right now we're watching potential future stars of IndyCar battle it out here in Pro Mazda.
Franzoni looks like he's coming up on more lack traffic. That looks like Puderbaugh.
Yeah, that's Puderbaugh again.
He gets underneath him in turn 1.
Clean move, and Brendan Puderbaugh doing a great job opening the door to the bottom. It's all you're supposed to do. If you're getting lapped, hold your line, give the driver the bottom, pick a line, and run around it. Right now, Eberle trying to close up on Puderbaugh. They're actually still battling for that 8th position. Puderbaugh and Eberle, they've been essentially separated probably about 6 or 7 car lengths for a majority of the race. So at this point, Eberle's seeing if he can't reel him in to go head-to-head for 8th position. In fact, I believe he gets by. Eberle gets by. Puderbaugh's going to go back down the inside. And again, that's something you never know. They're side-by-side coming through. Puderbaugh has to get out of it. Side-by-side through 1. Brendan Puderbaugh got out of it because he was right there, and Eberle wasn't going to give it up. They were side-by-side, and you know, one of the things I was going to say.
That allows Jeff Green to come up on Nikita Listoshkin for 5th place as well.
That is for 5th. And I was going to say, you never know what's going to happen. Contact with a couple of drivers could just stack everybody back up again and give Martin a chance to go back by.
And that's where you hope, if you're Victor Franzoni, you've taken care of those tires.
You have to do that because you never know, as we said, what's going to happen. Here goes 3 wide to turn number 1 again. Jeff Green will go to the inside. He's going around the outside of Listoshkin. Green way high on the racetrack, but pedals it. He's going to get a better run out of the corner. Listoshkin tucked back in. That's the battle for 5th position. Nikita Listoshkin will look down to the bottom. Green doesn't want to give it to him. Side by side going into turn number 3. Listoshkin's got to back out of it.
Wow, that's Jeff Green is one of those great stories. This is going to be a home race for Jeff. He's from Peoria, Illinois, and he's 60 years old, but he is darn pedaling that car.
He is not going to give up this position. Green now to P5. What a battle between he and Listoshkin now. Listoshkin got a decent run coming out of 2, made the move to the inside in turn 3, and Green just said, no, you're not going to have it. I'm going to dive deep into the corner, was able to roll the speed, held that middle line on the racetrack, and was able to keep on it. Incredible run for Jeff Green.
And up front, it's Franzoni. He just keeps knocking off those 141-mile-an-hour laps.
And Steve, 141.7. It just seems to be 141.7 miles per hour. Bang, bang, bang. 4.4 seconds. Now the lead as we're down to just 5 laps remaining. 5 to go. As we'll be heading to victory lane. Who's it going to be? Does Victor Franzoni hold on and get that 2-point advantage heading to the season finale at Watkins Glen International? Right now, he looks very good. Franzoni across the start-finish line once again to put another lap in. 4 to go for the Brazilian. I believe he's closing up. And again, one of the Palfrey cars, I think that's TJ Fisher closing up on now. That would be to try to lap up to 4th spot. Carlos Cunha and Anthony Martin will be the only drivers. Let's see if
Rob, he's absolutely putting on a clinic right now. I thought he might win this race. It was one of those ones where you came in and you're like, well, you know, he's got a little bit more oval experience. He's done an oval race in a Pro Mazda car before at Lucas Oil Raceway Park, but you never know. And he's absolutely put on a clinic.
Able to get by TJ Fisher cleanly. So right now, the Brazilian for Uncos Racing, Victor Franzoni, who is actually going to be running in USF 2000 to start the year, didn't have this ride put together, but Jeff Green said, I want to go Pro Mazda Racing. I want to run with you, Juncos Racing, and I want to have Victor Franzoni as my teammate. I want to have that guy that works with me. White flag flying. 1 lap to go for Victor Franzoni. Can he win here at Gateway Motorsports Park? He slows it down to 139.2 miles an hour, gingerly getting by TJ Fisher. Franzoni down the back straightaway looking to take over the lead in the points, 287 to 285. Nicely down into turn number 3. Couldn't have asked for a better race. They put a show on at the start for sure. Franzoni with an outside move in turn number 1 and 2. He'll roll on to turn number 4, ladies and gentlemen. The winner at Pro Mazda at Gateway, Victor Franzoni. Franzoni winning over Anthony Martin and Carlos Cunha. What a race for the Brazilian. Steve Wittick, unbelievable.
Unreal, Rob. That was a fantastic race. What a great way to start this long evening of racing, I tell you.
I love it. Great run. Again, these drivers trying to see who's going to win the scholarship to go into the Indy Lights program. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to run. We got to get our way down to Victory Lane. Victor Franzoni is going to work his way there now. We'll head over there as well to get a chance to talk to the race winner. Victor, come up down, have a quick chat with me. Listen, it's so important right now for this championship to get wins. I know that at Mid-Ohio, you won once, Anthony won twice. You had the point deficit, but you come here, and what a run. Talk about your race and what it was like to drive that car in the first couple of laps.
First of all, I'd like to thank Mazda, Cooper Tires, and Beaumarid Automotive Group for the amazing race, amazing weekend. And what was crazy, the whole weekend, since the test, we were not believing we could win here. We were never faster than Anthony. And then after quali, I was really slow. Not 2/10 in the oval, it's really slow. And then we were like thinking like crazy until we finished the car 5 minutes before race. We made a lot of changes, and then we went to the race like, let's see what happens. And then the start of the race was really difficult to drive behind Anthony. It was crazy oversteer. In the first turn, the first lap, I tried to make a move from outside. I really drifted the whole turn. It was crazy. I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be a crazy race. But after I could go to the first, the car was perfect. Junko's race again, they made a great car, and it was unbelievable. Was even better because we didn't think that we could win.
Congratulations.
We won. Thank you.
There he is, folks. One more time, Victor Franzoni, my winner today in Pro Mazda.